Yo, what's good with y'all boys? Welcome back to another banger, man. As y'all can see, today I'm gonna be teaching y'all the full process on how I make my thumbnail. So specifically today, we're gonna be going over a little hood thumbnail that I be making on Roblox, you feel me? I'm gonna be teaching y'all the full process on how I make my thumbnails, you feel me? So let's just get right into it. So basically what you're gonna wanna do first is you're gonna wanna go ahead and hit new file. It depends if you're on Photopea, just make a new thing. And what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is make sure that the width is at 1920 pixels and 1080 height. Now for the resolution, it's really up to you. I like putting it at 300 just to really give it that pop, you feel me? It just turns out a little bit better to me. Now you can do the same thing, but 1280 x 720 is basically the same thing, just one comes out a lot more better than the other. So you feel me? I'm gonna be going with 1920 1080 for this video. So now what we're finna go ahead and do is, this is where you really gotta wanna go ahead and get your screenshots, whatnot, you feel me? So today, like I said, we finna be throwing in a little screenshot of mine that I got. Let's see which one we finna throw in there. I bet nah, we're not finna do this one. I bet. So this is the thumbnail that I'm finna be using today. Now, one thing I do want to say is that not everything comes out perfect, but when you're looking at a thumbnail up close, you're gonna be a lot more aware of things compared to people that's actually gonna be looking at your thumbnails and whatnot. So as y'all can see, I got a little something going on right here. And so basically what we finna go ahead and do is make sure that you got your layers out, so because we finna be adding a lot of layers, and y'all see what I mean by that later. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing I like to do whenever I see my thumbnails is I like to go right here. I like to hit J on my keyboard, make sure to zoom in. I like to hit J on my keyboard, and I like to get rid of these little things because they come out annoying and you don't want that in your thumbnail. It comes out real ugly. So what J is a spot healing tool. It literally just gets rid of stuff for you, you know what I'm saying? Just screw around with it. It don't gotta be pinpoint perfect, but you know what I'm saying? It'll help you out with getting rid of all this stuff. So it look kind of ugly right now, but really you just supposed to do it like this. You can kind of screw around with it till it comes out good, just like that. Boom. It's gonna come out a little weird sometimes. I'm gonna mess around with it and try to make it look good. I bet. So it is looking a little weird, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fix it. Go ahead and click on the little brush on the top left, and I'm gonna turn my hardness all the way up. Make sure you got a pretty good size in. And what I'm gonna go ahead and try to do is maybe turn it down to like maybe about 60. And what we finna go ahead and do is we're gonna try to color code this thing, because it's not always gonna come out pinpoint perfect. But what we trying to do is trying to just kind of get it at a sense to where we could kind of make it look good. Now it really all depends on the hardness. I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna put it back to 0. And it don't come out perfect every time, like I said, but you know what I'm saying? This is maybe how it looks like whenever you just whenever somebody's looking at it on YouTube. They're not gonna notice every detail. So now that we done with that, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna try to get rid of this too, but this probably won't come out that perfect. Oh no, it came out pretty well, can't cap. So now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm finna try to get the cutouts of every character, and this will go into some further stuff. So just go ahead, what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is hit W on your keyboard, hit the brackets on your keyboard to make the size bigger. This is for all brushes, all the tools. And now what I'm just gonna go ahead and do is outline all my characters with this tool, and I'm gonna speed up this process so y'all can see what I do. I bet. So one thing I do want to say is that sometimes this tool ain't always perfect. You know what I'm saying? You do got to be a little bit patient with it, because it's not always going to come out very nice. So whenever if it does like select too many things, just go ahead and do the subtract tool instead of the plus tool, the addition, and just get rid of those spots that you don't want in there, because that type of stuff just gets real annoying. And you could always make the brush size smaller, that way it don't do this type of stuff. But you feel me, this tool ain't exactly perfect. Other people like to use the magic wand tool, but that's not my type of thing. You feel me? I think I could just do a whole lot better by just doing it by myself. So we finna go ahead, we finna get rid of these ugly spots right here. And either way, if it don't come out too perfect, we is finna use something in a little bit once we're done with this, to kind of just make sure that it does turn out even better. So make sure you're using a hand tool a lot. It makes it a lot easier to navigate instead of scrolling up and down. It's just H on your keyboard, and just like that you get to move around and whatnot. So we finna get rid of all these unnecessary spots. I like to make sure that everything is Gucci, cause you feel me. Sometimes whenever you add in some like effects and whatnot, stuff don't come out perfect and it's gonna be annoying, and it just really make your thumbnail look ugly. I bet. So pretty much whenever you done with your character and whatnot, what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is hit Control J on your keyboard, and it should make a outline. It's just literally gonna duplicate it, put it in the same spot. Do not do Control C, Control V, none of that, because it's gonna come out ugly. And pretty much what I do here from now on is I would add some effects, but we finna go ahead and get all the characters selected first, and then I'll do that. I bet. So once you got all the characters selected and whatnot, pretty much you got two options here. In case there's stuff on the characters that you didn't perfect or anything like that, you could really just delete the not delete it, but make the visibility of the background off. And if there's anything you don't like, you feel me, like this type of stuff right here, then you could just delete that by using the eraser, which is E on the keyboard. Use your brackets, take that off. You gotta select the right character. I think this is it. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? That's really just the first method though. The other method is really more of like you want to delete and add stuff back to the character. Like let's say you deleted too much, or you like selected something bad. And what you can do for that is let me go ahead, go back to the character when you select it. What you're gonna want to go ahead and do this time is when you have them selected, you can mask them, which you need to make sure you have it duplicated, the background picture, or else you know what I'm saying, it's not gonna do its correct job, you know what I'm saying. So really, just to give y'all the explanation, like if you think you added too much, all you gotta do is hit the brush tool and make sure you got the black part selected. And so the black is gonna delete down here these colors right here. This is the foreground color. You're just gonna want to go ahead and make it black, and that'll delete stuff. And if you hit the little arrows right here, it's gonna switch them and it'll add stuff back, you know what I'm saying. So you could just do that, do this, do that, and you know what I'm saying, just like that, you know what I'm saying. But for this method, for the one that I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and do Control J, and just like that you got every character selected. So now what I like to do is I like to make the characters pop out more, make the background a little bit more vibrant. This type of stuff is very important whenever you're making a thumbnail, because colors is everything, especially with Roblox. You got a whole lot of kids watching. So what I like to do is I like to double click on the layers, add a little drop shadow to this dude, maybe not so big, add a little inner shadow. Make sure the inner shadow ain't too heavy. You're gonna want to go ahead and make sure the choker's on 100, size 0, and you can just mess with the little distance slider. I'm gonna leave it at 2. For the drop shadow, it really depends. Don't move anything for distance and spread. Make sure it's black, 30 angle. I like to just mess with the size. I don't like it having it too big. I like to maybe keep it at around 10. It really just depends on how big the character is. And then for the rest of the stuff that I add inner glow and outer glow, which 9 times out of 10 I put them white. It really just gives that color, that pop out on the character, you feel me. So I'm finna go ahead and we just finna right click on the one that we already did it, and we finna do copy, and we just gonna do paste, copy, paste, and copy and paste it onto every character. As y'all can see, the characters pop out a whole lot more, you know what I'm saying? People gonna be looking at the characters, they're gonna be like, oh, that's cool. So now what I like to do, this is where it's really gonna get a little bit more advanced, so make sure y'all pay attention, is we finna click on one of the characters. We finna click on mine real quick, and we finna go down here to the bottom right, and we finna click this little circle, these two circles. Now what this is like adding vibrance, adding brightness. So we finna go ahead, we finna add brightness first. Now whenever you do this type of stuff, especially on specific characters, you're gonna want to make sure you hit that, you right click the brightness and contrast, and make sure you create the clipping mask. If you don't create the clipping mask, let me show y'all what it do, right? So you, this time you just see the character, you know, brightening up and whatnot, but if you take that off, it's gonna brighten the whole thing. So if you really trying to be specific on one character, then make sure you got that clipping mask on, you know what I'm saying? So now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm just gonna mess around with the slider, try to make him look like he good and whatnot. So we finna go ahead mess with the brightness and the contrast. As you can see, take it off, he look a lot less, you know what I'm saying? He look, it just give the color, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm just finna repeat the process, but I'm just finna do it with vibrance this time. Now with the vibrance, you gotta be a little bit careful, because vibrance, it gives more color to your character. Now saturation is something else, I ain't gonna lie. Saturation is very heavy, very deep on colors. You can add very little and it'll change the entire color, you know what I'm saying? So you know, you don't want to go too crazy with the saturation. I'm gonna leave it at 15 and 5, and just like that, you can see the difference between my character, you know what I'm saying? We added on, even without the saturation, you can see my character looks a lot more white. So now we finna go ahead, we just finna do basically the same thing with every character. I'm gonna speed this up though. I bet. So as y'all can see, we got every single character done now. Y'all can really see the difference between the characters when you really add the stuff and when you don't. This type of stuff, you really gotta learn how to perfect it well. Try not to make your characters look too oversaturated or too over vibrant, you know what I'm saying? You really gotta make it look pinpoint perfect. So now what I'm finna go ahead and do is we finna try to go ahead and try our best to get rid of these names up here, because they look really ugly. Now I'm not gonna lie, the spot healing brush tool, you know, J on your keyboard, it's not always gonna be perfect, but you know, you gotta try sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So we finna go ahead, we finna get into that, and let's see if we can do what we can do. I bet. So I really try my best here. I ain't gonna lie, this is probably one of the harder thumbnails I've ever had to work with, you know, because I ain't gonna lie, the spot healing brush tool can get pretty annoying. You know what I'm saying? There is ways to prevent this, you know, but we gonna have to teach that in another video. But yeah, I try my best here, you know what I'm saying? It still looks pretty decent, I can't lie. The card do look a little bit weird up here at the top, and the laser is a little bit weak, but people not really gonna notice that for real when they looking at the thumbnail. Either way, we probably gonna add some blur to the back just to really fix it up, you know what I'm saying? Make the best out of what you can do. So now that we've gotten rid of all of that, we really just finna move to kind of getting rid of some blank spots, making the characters pop out just a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? So to do that, we finna start off with my character right here. What you're finna want to go ahead and do is click the layer under the character, and then make a new layer with a little plus sign, or the sticky page, which is on Photopea. And what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is click that layer, and for the blend mode, you're gonna want to go here, click normal, and change it to screen. Change the opacity to, I say, anywhere from like 50 to 65, and click off of that. And you're gonna want to make sure you got it selected. Hit B on your keyboard for the brush tool. What you're gonna want to go ahead and do is make sure you click the top color, make it white. And now what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is add the white around the character. This is basically just gonna make your character pop out a little bit more, kind of get rid of those blank spots in the thumbnails, because the blank spots can get real annoying. So we pretty much just finna do that for every single, character. Put it to, 60 this time. And, we just gonna add it behind every character, kind of make them pop out more, especially since this thumbnail right here is really just about the characters. It's nothing really specific. So, we just finna go ahead, leave it like that. Put a thing under this dude. And, we just doing the exact same thing every single time. Screen, 50, 60. I'm gonna put it to 60. And you kind of got to be careful with where you put in this brush at, because if you put it in the wrong spot, it's gonna look a little iffy, you know what I'm saying? But we just finna go ahead, we finna do the exact same thing. Screen, put it to probably about, I'm put it to 55 with this one. And then to get rid of those little blank spots. Now some people do like to put the opacity a lot higher. Me, I like to keep it low. Now what I am finna do is I'm finna get rid of some of the glow right here, because some of the glow look a little ugly. So I'm finna restart that. You feel me? Make sure that there ain't too much glow, because then it kind of does make the characters look a little bit iffy. But as y'all can see, the characters kind of got that little glow on them, make them pop out a whole lot more, you know what I'm saying? And so now what we finna go ahead and do is we finna go drop down here, and we finna add a little bit of color and some brightness to the background picture. So we're finna go ahead, hit brightness contrast, same thing that I taught y'all earlier, and we're gonna try to make it a little bit brighter, just to kind of make the background not seem so bland, with the characters looking all bright and stuff. You can't have the background looking all weird. We finna go ahead, hit it with some vibrance, and just like that, it's looking good just like this. And so now what I'm finna go ahead and do is I'm finna hit the filter button up here. I'm not exactly sure how it looks on Photopea, but we finna do Gaussian blur. And this is too much, I ain't gonna lie. So we're gonna have to do this. Hold on. Okay, I thought my stuff was low-key tripping. I had my Gaussian blur on a different little area. But yeah, pretty much you're just gonna want to go ahead and put the radius a little high. Don't put it too high, because then it's gonna look weird like this. You obviously don't want to do that. I'm finna put it to maybe around 2.5. I think 2.5 is good. That way the characters are still popping out very well, but they don't look unnatural. And we can kind of set the view off of all these little mess ups right here and over here. It's still noticeable, but looking at it from a range of the viewers, it's not gonna look that bad, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm finna get rid of this little string that we got right here. Like I said, there is gonna be a lot of mistakes with the with that one tool that I was talking about, because it's kind of buggy. But you just gotta fix that up with the eraser. And now what we finna go ahead and do is we finna add a little bit of inner glow to the characters, but with a pretty cool method. So pretty much click on any of the characters. We finna start off with mine like usual, and just create a new layer. And for this one, you're gonna want to make it the blend mode from normal to linear dodge. And with this one, you're gonna want to put the opacity to about 75. Now for this one, you got to be real careful with it, because you can mess up. Make the brush pretty big, and pretty much what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is go around the character and just lightly add some color. And this is gonna make the character pop out a whole lot more. Without this, look at the character, boom, bang, bow. It gives the character a lot more of a natural light on them, and it just, to me, I think it looks very good. I don't know about y'all, we all got preferences, but this is how I do it. So boom, just like that. Gonna add a little bit more glow, and you know what I'm saying? Just take a look at the character without it and with it. You feel me? To me, it adds a whole lot of that pop, that little glow that they need, that they missing. So we just finna go ahead, rinse and repeat the exact same process with every single character. Now I'm finna do it this one, and boom, just like that. Now with this character, I'm probably finna go a little bit more heavier on it, since he's more solo. I want this dude to pop out a whole lot more. And just like that, we got all the characters looking very good, very clean. And now what we finna go ahead and do is, let me see what we gotta do next. I bet. So pretty much what we finna go ahead and do now is get to kind of wrapping up the thumbnail, you feel me? So what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is click the very top layer, hold shift, and click the bottom one. And now what you're gonna want to do is listen to me real quick. Control G, Control J, Control E, and then Control J again. Pretty much what we're doing here is we're grouping everything, turning it into one photo, and this is so we can really just make stuff pop out more. So what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is click the top one and hit filter up here on the top left. Go down to camera raw filter. Now I will be teaching y'all how to use this a little bit better in a different video, but pretty much what we finna go ahead and do is just throws a little bit of, I'm finna turn the exposure down a little bit because it is kind of heavy. Move the contrast up. Let's see what we're gonna do with the highlights. We're gonna move the highlights down about 15. Yeah, just like that. Put the shadows up a little bit, probably about like 10. And this is really just settling all the colors, you know what I'm saying? It's making stuff really just settle in a lot more better. Now for the blacks, I guess I put the blacks up like 18. For the temperature, this is kind of like vibrance. I only put it up very little because if you put it high up too much, it's gonna come out ugly. Same thing goes for vibrance. I only put probably about 5 vibrance on all my thumbnails when I use this. And for saturation, I don't touch it because saturation can get really out of hand really quick. Now for effects, down here in texture, a lot of people do like to add texture. It makes the picture a lot more grainy, but you know, I will add +5 to it just for whatnot. And for the clarity, I'm gonna put it up probably about 10. Now if you look at the clarity, it kind of makes the characters pop out a whole lot more, but I don't want to be too heavy with that, so we just finna put it at 10. Now for the dehaze, it's kind of the same thing. I'm gonna put it at -2, and then we don't touch nothing else. Now scroll down a little bit, go to detail, and for sharpening, I'm not really gonna touch it, but we just finna put noise reduction at 15 just to kind of get rid of that grainy view. And as y'all can see, it's gonna change the thumbnail a whole lot, kind of gives them colors out a whole lot more. And so now what we finna go ahead and do is we finna create a new layer, change the blend mode to linear dodge, put the opacity to 70, and now we finna use the brush tool, hit B on your keyboard, and we finna make a whole lot of stuff pop out, like the jewelry, the guns. So we finna start off with the jewelry first. So I'm gonna make the color here white, and I'm finna go over my brush tool, use the brackets to make it smaller, and kind of just go around a whole bunch of stuff, kind of to give it that pop out color, you feel me? Some things is gonna pop out a whole lot more than others. I'm probably gonna do this with this one, change it to blue. If y'all don't know how to use the eyedropper, it's I on the keyboard, and then hit it with that, just like that. Hit this dude chain up with that white, because that white gonna hit very heavy on jewelry, and you know, jewelry is something that's gonna pop out a whole lot, especially when you're making these type of thumbnails, these type of hood game thumbnails, because you know, people like jewelry, people like to see the jewelry, people like to see the bling. Yeah, just like that. I'm probably not gonna touch this part because it's already really bright and it's not really that seeable. Oh, I just messed up. If y'all do mess up at any point, make sure you just hit Control Z. It's gonna reverse all the stuff you did, you feel me? And if you want to go back to something you did, hit Control Shift Z. So if you make a mistake and you accidentally deleted it, hit Control Shift Z. If you want to get rid of something, Control Z. So I've pretty much added basically all the little bling I wanted to on all these characters. There you go, the last one. And so you could do this with literally the skin color, but you got to be very careful with how you place it, because sometimes it will look very out of hand. And so pretty much for the finishing touch, what I'm finna go ahead and do is I'm finna add some text. And you know, I'm just finna teach y'all a little some on what I know about text. We finna put street, and then make this a little bigger, kind of make it pop out more. And then we gonna put gang. So one thing I like to do whenever it comes to my text is I like to make the bottom part a lot bigger than the top. To me, it just fits a whole lot more. Now to make these kind of stand out, make it look good, you're gonna want to make sure that they're kind of symmetrical, one on top of each other. Y'all gonna see better soon enough. And you're gonna want to make sure that they're aligned in the middle. So if you don't know how to do this, or you can't do it by yourself, make sure to select both of the text or however many texts you have. Go up here to the top left and find this little like canvas board, the one that's going up in the middle. it'll pretty much fix it for you. So now we finna edit the text, and you know, we finna add some drop shadow to it. I'm finna start off with gang. Actually, I feel like the word gang is gonna be a lot more important. So we finna go ahead, we finna add a little bit of drop shadow. Now whenever it comes to adding the effects of the text, I feel like I take a lot more of my time with this, because the text is really everything to a thumbnail. So we finna make this gold. So pretty much go to gradient overlay, hit this little gradient thing, and you know, you're gonna want to choose the colors. Now I know how to make my stuff gold. Just change it like that, change it like this, and then change it right back to this. And just like that, the text is gold. Now I like to add some inner shadow too, just white. And you feel me, this is gonna make the text pop out more, you know what I'm saying? So for the inner shadow, you're gonna need 2 inner shadows on your text. You don't have to do this every time, but I like to do it. For the second one, you're gonna want to make it -90, put the choke to 100, and you only gonna be messing with the distance. Now what I like to do is I make it whatever bottom color there is, make it the dark version of that. So you know, this is kind of that yellow. This kind of gives it that deep 3D touch, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm finna add a little bit of that inner glow, make it pop out a little bit more than it already is. And you can add inner glow if you want to. I'm not, because I'm finna teach y'all how to make stuff pop out with the brush tool. So just like that, we finna make street. I'm finna make it just gray. Or actually no, we finna keep both of them gold, I think. Yeah, I'm messing with it a little bit, but really this is just an example to teach y'all how to do this type of stuff. You know, just hit it with the exact same stuff, make the inner glow a little tinier. And so just like that, you got your text. Now what I'm finna go ahead and do is I'm finna add a little bit of an arc to this, because it kind of looks just simple. It looks too simple to me. So pretty much you're gonna want to hit these little transform controls, hit this little button up here, and then sometimes it's gonna put it automatically to arc, but if it says custom or anything else, make sure to change it to arc. And I'm finna change it just a little bit, put it to like 5, put the bend to 5, put it like that. And we're gonna do the same thing to street, but I think for street what we finna do is, oh I messed up, Control Z, we finna make it arc upper, and we finna put it to probably about 5 also. Nah, we're gonna put it to like 10. We're gonna put it to 7. Yeah, I think 7 gonna sit pretty well. And now what we finna do is we finna make it go on top, move it up a little bit, then move it right back down, and just like that, they look pretty good. So now what I'm finna go ahead and do is I'm finna select both of the text, hit Control G, and then you're gonna want to hit Control J and hit Control E, and you can make the visibility on this off. And now what I'm finna do is I'm finna hit the transform, these little white squares, finna add some more arc to it, kind of make it like this. Yeah, I'm finna leave it right here. I feel like this looks real good to me. And we finna move it down a little bit. You can make it bigger if you want to, but I'm just finna leave it like this. And yeah, this looks good right here. So now I'm finna add a little bit of some inner shadow to it, kind of just give it that little thing. It's making it pop out a lot. And then some outer glow. Now we're not finna add no outer glow, we just finna add some drop shadow. And now to really make it pop out, make a new layer above it, put it to linear dodge, and put it to, I say, about 65. And now what you're gonna want to go ahead and do is hit I on your keyboard for the eyedropper, choose the brightest color, and now you're just gonna want to go ahead and go with the brush tool on layer 15, and you can make it big if you want to. Just go in some of these spots and add that little bit of color, and just like that, it's popping out a whole lot more. And that pretty much just about does it for the whole thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? Without all of this, without this, you know, you just kind of, you know what I'm saying, you could take a good look at it. And just like that, that's really how I make all my thumbnails, you feel me? So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna leave y'all here, man. I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all need any help in the comments, make sure to let me know. And if y'all need any help and y'all can't help y'all in the comments, make sure to join my Discord. I will be helping furthermore in there. And hey, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.